Hello everyone, before we get into the video I want to apologize for the wind noise. I do have a fairly good Rode microphone with the windsock on it. I didn't realize that the wind was really buffeting bad that day, so there's parts of this video the audio's not that great. It's really hard to go ahead and reshoot this because as of right now when I went to edit the video, all the parts have been put on the RV and the vehicle, so I don't have them anymore, and I really think that's kind of a good part is me holding and showing them to you. So I just want to apologize for the wind noise. Sometimes this happens when we film. It's not always the best thing, so again, apologize for that. And alright, let's get to the video. Gotta have it. Go ahead and grab you a hot cup of coffee, grab a seat, let's get comfortable, and let's talk about flat towing with your motorhome and the reason that for me I chose this over the other two options. First, let me introduce myself. If you're new here, I'm L to the W. I'm a car guy, I'm an avid travel enthusiast, I'm a disabled veteran from the United States Army. Together with my lovely wife, who's originally from Russia, we both have a passion for traveling, adventuring, and going out and see things. For me, you know, I saw other countries in the Army. My wife, originally being from Russia, came here and she's wanting to see the entirety of this country. I'm wanting to see a lot more of this country that I've seen. So we plan on traveling all across the US with our beautiful Class C motorhome back here. We'd also want to travel up through Canada, hopefully through Alaska. And we also plan on traveling all throughout the rest of the world, through Europe, Asia, and see a lot of the world. So hopefully that interests you, and I can go ahead and get you to go down here below, hit that subscribe button, go ahead and leave a thumbs up, and even leave me a little comment. Even just say hi. It really helps YouTube's algorithm recommend the channel so I can grow this thing and I can bring you bigger and better content. I greatly appreciate that. So now that the intro is over, let's talk about why I chose on go ahead and dinghy towing over the other two options. So your first option is like a flatbed trailer, which you've probably seen on rental trucks going down the highway, like a U-Haul or something like that, and you see all four tires up, which is kind of nice. Your car's not on the ground and there's no wear and tear. But those trailers are heavy, you're going to burn more gas. It's definitely the most expensive way to go. Those trailers aren't as cheap as like a dolly or a flat tow setup. And then it's large. You're going to need a very big campsite to go ahead and put that into, and it really defeats the purpose as to why I bought the Class C. I'll leave a link down below as to why I bought it, but just to touch on it, we got this one at 30 feet because it's fairly nimble. It's not too big to where I can't get it into, like, let's just say we're driving, we see a roadside attraction, like, ooh, let's go check that out. I can get this thing into almost any parking lot. Maybe if we're sick and we need to get to a walking clinic, I can pull this thing into almost anywhere. It's not so huge, and it's not like a pickup and a trailer that needs like a lot of room to maneuver around, and it's just, with it being like this, it's easy to back up. So pulling a trailer would easily defeat that. And yes, I know towing a car is technically a trailer, but with the flat tow, it's easily disconnected and you can just drive the car. It's not a trailer. The trailer, you have to have your vehicle. Now, you also have a tow dolly, which is basically a two-wheel trailer that you drive your car up onto. So I hurt my back in the Army. I got several busted discs on my back, so bending over is really not an option. So with the dolly system, there's two little ramps you have to pull out. You drive your car onto it, and then you have to strap these nets over your tires, put the ramps back up, and then when you get to where you're going, you have to undo this process. It takes a bit of time, and forbid it's raining, then that's really going to be messy. Anything you do is going to be messy in the rain, but the less time you can be out there, the better. But then the dolly, you're probably going to have to disconnect it and push it somewhere into your campsite. I know a lot of campsites I've gone to, my bumper is usually over like the wood stopper or something in the back, and to drop a trailer off. So I kind of just counted those two options out, because for me with back problems, dolly towing is going to work the best, because the tow bar bolts to your vehicle, it's in your trailer hitch, and it's just a fairly easy system to go ahead and hook it to the mounts on your vehicle. Now the interesting thing I found out with the flat towing is there's quite a few components involved into it, so that's why I'm making this video, to kind of let you be aware of everything that you're going to need. So first thing you need to do is Most motorhomes, even the smaller Class Bs, have some kind of trailer hitch already installed on them. You need to look at the rating at the hitch, and you need to know how much your vehicle weighs to even make sure that this is possible. Like my hitch, I already looked back there. The limit is 5,000 pounds. The Buick Envision that we're going to tow is around 3,400 pounds, so I'm well within the limit of where I can tow. Also, you need to look at the weight capacity of your vehicle. There should be a data decal. I think most of them, like mine, are on the door that has the vehicle weight and how much weight you can put in. So this thing's just over 10,000 pounds with a gross weight of 20. So with a vehicle in tow, we'll just round it up to 11,000 pounds, and we'll say that the car is 4,000 pounds. That puts me at 15,000 pounds. I still have 5,000 pounds more I can add to this vehicle, so I'm well within my limits of towing. Number 3, and this is really critical also, is you need to make sure that your car can even be flat towed. Go to your owner's manual, look up dinghy towing or flat towing, and see if your vehicle can even be pulled. If it can't, then you might want to consider buying another vehicle, or you might have to do one of the other 2 options if you don't want to invest in the vehicle. Originally, I was going to pull the Chevy Cruze that I have because it's a little bit smaller and lighter, but it won't flat tow. But my wife's Buick Envision can, so we're going to use that. I'll leave a link down below. There's a website that had great resources of listings of vehicles that can be towed. If you notice, like a lot of motorhomes will pull like a Jeep Wrangler, it's because of the 4-wheel drive system has what's called a transfer case. So you have your engine, transmission, most people probably heard of. Then you have a transfer case that all the wheels go through. Well, you put that in forward neutral, then it totally disengages the transmission from any movement. So the Jeep Wranglers are really great for flat towing. That's why you see a lot of them, because of the transfer case. You can just go ahead and pop that in neutral. You can leave the car in park because basically the transmission, nothing is spinning. And that's why it's critical that your car be able to flat tow, because you'll burn up your transmission. It's really got to be designed for it, because when your tires are spinning, you're going to be moving internal components of your transmission. And if it's not designed for that, the oil's not going to pump through, it's not going to get cooled and lubricated, and you're going to burn up a very expensive transmission. These new 6 speeds, these 8 speeds, these CVTs, you might even have a double clutch transmission. Very expensive, these new transmissions. I got an older 91 Z28 we're working on. I'm rebuilding the trans in that to handle new power, and it gets expensive, and that's an old just 4-speed transmission. So we want to make sure that the vehicle can be towed. So next thing is the equipment. This kind of took me a little bit by surprise, is how much stuff you really need to go ahead and flat tow. So we have our hitch, we have our wiring on the RV. So the next piece of equipment is going to be a tow bar. Now, I found one tow bar company that actually makes with what's called a surge brake. So when you hit the brakes, your vehicle pushes in on that, a lever flips up and it pulls a cable through your vehicle and it applies the brakes. Got to understand, when you're pulling your car behind your RV, it's basically a trailer, and most states require that your trailer have some type of autonomous braking, some type of brake system on there. And even if it's not, it's really good idea to have an auxiliary braking system, because worst case scenario, if something fails within your hitch, the tow bar, anything fails and your vehicle becomes disconnected, the auxiliary brake system will apply the brakes and bring your vehicle to a stop, and it won't go rocketing down the highway at 50 to 70 miles an hour and end up hurting somebody, and you end up losing your vehicle. So it's a very important part. So they do actually make one that actually has a brake system in it, and that would be your most cost-effective way of doing this. You have your regular tow bars, and then you have ones that are called non-binding. I really recommend getting a non-binding one. So what it is, and I'll go get the tow bar and show you. Okay. So when they talk about non-binding, what you have here is when the RV is connected to your vehicle, you have these 2 bars. You flip these levers here to go ahead and disconnect and fold the RV up. So what non-binding is there's basically like a gearbox in here that gives you a mechanical advantage when you're trying to disconnect. So just to say, your vehicle's on a hill and just pushing up on this bar, or maybe it's sideways, or maybe it's pushing, you're on a hill and the car's pushing down, you can overpower those forces with the lever. If you have a regular tow bar, you're gonna have to get on nice flat level ground and get that pressure off. Where the non-binding, you'll be able to overcome that in most circumstances. So that's why I highly recommend the non-binding. I got the Roadmaster Nighthawk here. It's got these pretty cool LED lights down the side. I like that. I also like that the wires and the cables all run in these channels down here. So my safety cables and the wires and all that run down here. So take a minute, make sure you get a very good tow bar. It's a good investment. You want to make sure you get the right one the first time, because they're not overly expensive, but they're not cheap also. Yeah, I really like the lights on here. I think it's going to add a little something. Alright, the next big piece of the puzzle is what's called a base plate. It's basically like a reverse trailer hitch. It looks like a trailer hitch somewhat, but it bolts to the front of your vehicle, and it gives you the 2 connection points for your tow bar to hook to. So this is going to be a very vehicle specific part. So if you do change vehicles, unlike the tow bar and everything else you can use on anything, you will have to change base plates, but it's a very crucial piece. Make sure that your base plate should be pretty much compatible, but you want to make sure that they're all compatible, because sometimes those hooks that come in might not match with what your tow bar has. So make sure all those components are compatible. Now, it should be part of your tow bar or the base plate. You should have some safety chains or cables. They're usually cables with these. Very critical in case there's a failure. You want to make sure that your vehicle doesn't wander off. You have your safety cables. You're also going to need a lighting kit. This way at night when you turn on your vehicles, your motorhome's lights, it'll light up the vehicle behind you, and when you use your turn signals and all, kind of like a trailer, because basically you're making your car into a trailer. So you need to have the wiring harness, like the one I have has diodes, which is a one-way electrical gate, so you avoid back feeding through the electrical system and all that. Another thing you're going to need is, as mentioned before, is a braking system. Now you can do the surge system with the tow bar, and basically a cable runs up and pulls on the brakes. Now you have 2 other options. You have one that will mount somewhere in the vehicle. It's permanently mounted, and then there's usually like a cable system that goes around to your brake pedal, and when it senses that inertia, that braking, it'll apply the brakes, or it has to be hooked into the brake system, and when it senses the brake lights, I'm not 100% sure on how all these work. It might hook into your brake lights, and then it'll trigger applying the brakes to your vehicle. The system I went with is by RVI. I really kind of like the system, but there's also the Patriot, the Blue Ox 3. They both work the same way. They sit on the floor and they clamp to your brake pedal, and there's a motion sensor in there, so when you apply the brakes, it equally applies the brakes there. What I like with the RVI is that there's a color tablet screen that I'll have up front, and I purchased a couple of extra options to make my install easy, which is a wireless breakaway switch. So basically, if all hell breaks loose and the vehicle does come disconnected, it's going to pull a clip out of a switch, and then that's going to tell the brake system inside to just go ahead and hit the brakes, bring the vehicle to a stop, and hold it there until that pin's put back in. And then I also have a wireless connector for that. So the wireless connector, instead of me drilling a hole in the firewall of the vehicle and running a plug and plugging it actually into the side of the remote brake system, the RVI has a remote system, so you avoid drilling it. Another thing I like too is that it has a remote on that same tablet. I can read the tire pressure of my towed vehicle back there, so if something goes wrong, I get a flat tire, it starts going low, I'll get an alert. And I really like how RVI combined all that. So let me just say, I'm not paid for them. They didn't sponsor. I paid for all this equipment on my own. The RVI happened to be my choice. I like it's a smaller platform. It seems to react a bit faster than the mechanical version of the Blue Ox, the Patriot. So I kind of like I said, I like the fact that I can read the tires of that behind me. I like it as a smaller, lighter setup, but you're gonna have to have some type of braking system. You need the breakaway switch, which is gonna be part of that brake system. So all these good parts. Another thing that RVI sells, and you don't need the RVA system to use this, it's a battery charging system. A lot of cars like mine, you end up having to turn the vehicle on. You're going to put it in neutral and turn it off, but there's still going to be some power draw. So, and then also too, when you're because your RV is going to power those lights. So, but basically, you can use your RV to go ahead and charge the battery in your towed vehicle, because you're actually kind of leaving that ignition into an accessory mode. And there's also one more neat little thing that I bought. Let me go show you. Okay. Per the owner's manual, I have to pull 2 fuses out of the fuse panel every time. So what I bought is this, and I got all this stuff on E-Trailer. I'm not sponsored by them either, but basically what you do is you have your 2 fuses here. You plug this into the fuse box, and you mount this under the glove box where the fuse box is, and when you go into towing, you go ahead and just flip that and it'll kill the power. That way you don't have to keep pulling those 2 fuses out. That's pretty handy. Here's the battery charger I was talking about. This just hooks to your tow wire there and then to your battery. And keep your battery nicely charged so you don't no surprises. Here's what I was talking about earlier with the breakaway. Like I said, this is part of the brake system. This isn't an option. If you buy any type of brake system, you'll have a breakaway. This was an option for the RVI system, where it's a wireless adapter. So as you can see, there's your breakaway switch. You plug into here, you hook this to the battery, and then it transmits a signal to the actual brake system, and it applies the brakes. Here's my diode kit for hooking up the brake lights and all that. And then here's the actual like RVI brake system. You can see it's pretty small, it's pretty compact. This piece here simply just clamps to your brake pedal, and then you just set it up, plugs into your cigarette lighter, and that's another thing. If you don't have an active cigarette lighter, when the vehicle's off, you're gonna have to find one, or you're gonna have to like come up with a way of powering this. You might have to wire something else, but luckily for me, the Buick has a live outlet all the way in the back. So what I did is I bought a jumper. Basically, it was just a extension cord for your cigarette lighter. So a little bit of an inconvenience, but it's better than having to rewire something or reinvent the wheel to do it. But yeah, I like this. Ooh. I like the size and that of this package here. Convenient little carrying handle and all that. You just have to be careful. This thing will swing out. But yeah, this here, the Blue Ox Patriot system is huge. The thing's like monstrous. So yeah, so when I was looking to go ahead and flat tow, I didn't realize like that I needed a braking system, and then I didn't realize that there was all these options of braking system. So I kind of learned a lot, and I wanted to share that knowledge with you, so that way if you want to flat tow, you can go ahead and make an informed decision as to what you want to do. Like I said, you can dolly tow, but even dolly towing requires some type of brake system on the dolly itself. It's either going to have electric brakes or like a surge brake. If you're towing with a big trailer, same thing. It's going to need a surge brake or electric brakes, which require an electronic brake controller mounted in your vehicle, where these systems here go. And then if you have a bus and you have an air system, there's another way of, actually with the air system not, because the way these things work, that senses the momentum of the vehicle. So yeah, like the RVI and the Blue Ox, the Patriot, work really well if you have a bus and air system. If you have one that needs to sense the air pressure, like one of the permanently mounted ones that's hooked into your brake system, then you need like adapters and that. So I kind of like this system here, even though it takes a little bit more. It's not permanently mounted. It's got one extra step. I really didn't like the idea of bolting something. I didn't like the cable system. I just don't trust that a cable won't fray or a cable will get stuck or bind somewhere along the line. I don't like it always being in there. So to me, that's just my personal preference. The RVI system had a lot of great views, so did the Blue Ox, the Patriot system. I just didn't like the size of that. And like I said, I like all the features that RVI adds to their color screen that you can do from one screen. You can also do like an emergency brake if you need to. So yeah, so there you have it. That's all the key stuff. Like I said, I learned a lot. I didn't know anything about the tow bars. I didn't know that I didn't know what non-binding means. I had to research it, and I found some good videos on the non-binding system. So I hope that I educated you, gave you some good information to help you go ahead, make a safe choice and a wise choice as to what you're going to do if you decide to go ahead and flat tow your vehicle. So hopefully my research will save you some time. I do appreciate you watching the video. If this helped you, if you enjoyed it, even if you didn't, please give me a thumbs up. Go down there and smash that subscribe. If you want to know, some of these parts are down below in my Amazon store. E-Trailer's a great resource. Like I said, I have no affiliate with them. RVI, you can purchase these products direct from them, or like I said, go to my Amazon store, check that out. It helps me grow the channel. Use those links. I also have some discount codes for all kinds of stuff down there. If you like drones or neon signs, like these custom made neon signs are pretty cool. Some links down below to save you some money on stuff like that. Or if you want to support the channel, we got some cool merchandise as well. So thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. Hopefully you're going to join us in our travels around the world, in the US, in our motorhome, and we hope to see you for more. I'm going to do another video on installing this stuff in the Buick. It's going to be kind of specific to the Buick, but even if you don't have one, it might help you understand how this goes together, and you might determine if you want to do it yourself or not. So stay tuned for that video. I'll have that one up somewhere after this one goes live. So thank you for watching. Thank you for the support, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one. Happy travels, everyone.